Pastor Eugene Terrell. I want to talk to you a little bit about picking up the pieces. I have found out through my life journey how I have lost connection with me. Yes, I lost connection with me, where I found myself at times giving up on God and even hating church. Can you believe it? A pastor who hated church. As I began to look around, or should I say, as these past couple of days, God has been dealing with me from John 21:15, I think it is, where it says, where John asked Simon Peter, if you love me, he asked him 3 times, if you love me, feed my sheep. No, he asked him 3 times, if you love me, he asked him that 3 times. Then the first time he said, feed my lamb. The second 2 times he said, feed my sheep. I began to wonder, ponder and meditate on, and ask myself the question, do you know who's been feeding you? We look around and church has changed so much. People call them pimps in the pulpit, and reality is there's really not a such thing. I mean, they have the characteristics of a pimp, but in reality, they are called Judas goats. Their sole purpose is to lead the lambs to slaughter and the sheep to slaughter, meaning that their same goal is to get all they can from you and pretty much have you go straight to hell. Many people say, I don't need God, I don't need church. But then if you really understand the aspect of it all, we really do need church, because it's an assembly of believers. Iron sharpens iron. When you're weak, someone should be able to be there to help you, strengthen you, pray with you, not for you, but with you. The biggest mistake we always ask somebody to pray for me. No, pray with me. Because whatever I miss, maybe God might speak to you and tell you, okay, we need to pray on this. Let me explain. Some years I found myself disconnected from God because I've been praying the wrong prayers. I thought it was fear, when in reality it was overactive imagination or overactive mind that caused me to get so disconnected from God and fearing things that I can and I don't have control over, thinking it had control over me. And reality is it was the enemy, or should I say it was that what was inside of me that was taunting me, hunting me, and causing me to lose all hope and faith and trust in God. You say, why go to church if you're not going to take notes and practice and train yourself on the things that you learn from going to church? You see, because when people think, oh, church is about the singing and the entertainment, and that's what the enemy uses to brainwash, manipulate, and destroy you. You know, I'll give you an example. Like at our church is geared towards praise and worship, praise and giving God thanksgiving. And when people come, most people they're used to that choir, that entertainment, that secularism, you know, that thing that has no basis towards healing your soul, but entertaining your flesh. But then when it comes down to listening to worship and praising God, a lot of people don't get it. And then we go into the teachings on how to train oneself or how to get out of the situation that you're in. It's easier said than done sometimes when we preach sermons. Sometimes it's easier said than done when I find myself preaching something I know God gave me. But the thing is, when it comes down for me applying what God told me to preach, I mean, can you imagine that? God give you something, you know it's hot. You preach it, you tell it, and you get on fire. You do everything, and when you're done, you know the Holy Spirit came down and spoke through you. And then the next minute, day, or hour, the enemy comes and say, okay, how much of that you preach you believe? Wow, how much of that you preach that you believe? So I guess in reality, is God is asking us, or asking me, do you know? I mean, will you feed my sheep? And if you're going to feed my sheep, you got to first, now that you agreed to feed my sheep, the thing is, do you know what to feed my sheep? You see, I said last week in our Bible class, in our Sunday school class in church, that a soldier who takes his training serious is the one that's surviving. And now look at this. We always scream, I'm a soldier for the army of the Lord. But if you're a soldier, you got to understand that you're in this war not by yourself, but you are responsible for the people who are in your platoon and platoon. There's a difference. We'll go that later. But there's a difference because you're called to save the lives and be there for those people who are around you. And those people who are around you are there for you. You see, back to this Judas goats. If you really look at it and you look around, you go to some of these museums and where they have goats and sheep, and you go to some of these zoos and you'll see that a lot of sheep and a lot of goats look similar alike. If you look at it, you notice that I believe it's the male goat can't reproduce with the female sheep, but a male sheep can reproduce with a female goat. See, because when a goat and a sheep get together, a male goat and a female sheep get together, they have stillborn. That's a powerful piece in itself. Think about that. Say stillborn. Many of you are having issues in your life where you keep having abortions. I mean, I'm not talking about physical abortion, but the more you know God told you this, but then you get there and all of a sudden it fails. It's like nothing happens. You say, I know God promised it, or somebody prophesied or prophesied to you, and you're like, God, you said, or your prophet said, or somebody said, or something. You know, you're standing on his word and you wonder why I'm speaking the word and nothing's happening. It's because you aligned yourself with the wrong person that can't help you reproduce, but they're helping you. They leading you to stillborn, meaning that every time you try to produce something that God promised, it keeps dying. Well, my brother, my sister, it don't have to happen anymore like that. Just go into your prayer closet. Start studying the word. Train yourself. It's teaching then training. When you go to church, you're learning. The preacher is teaching, regardless if he's preaching, hoop or holler, whatever. He's preaching to you, teaching you. You take your notes, and then you begin to train yourself in the area. Train up a child. You begin to train yourself in that area. And as you begin to train yourself, you begin to see who around you that you need to get out of your path, because they might be causing you to get out of alignment with God, or they might be the person that is causing your abortion or causing your womb not to bear fruit. You see, and if we're called to reproduce after our own kind, and sheep begot sheep, and if our shepherd is truly a shepherd, then we should be able to reproduce some things. But the question is, if I'm not reproducing, then I got to ask myself, who's feeding me? And who am I reproducing with? Spiritual sex. That's another teaching in itself. So I want you to stay tuned to our next blog. I have no idea when I might do. I might do another one today. Who knows? If I get enough likes, I'll do another one. Or if somebody say, hey, I want you to go more in depth on that, I'll make another one. Until then, tell me what you think about this. Pastor Eugene Terrell. And go over to our Facebook page, Second Chance Gift of Deliverance Ministry, and press like. Okay, hope to hear from you, and hope to see you Sunday. God bless.